to North of the Broad. I'm your host, Karen Wyman, coming to you from beautiful Low Country Produce in downtown Beaufort. I'm joined this afternoon by Susan Stott-Smith from Captured Moments. Hi, Susan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad that you're here this afternoon.
Thank you.
I know that we're here to talk about your studio, Captured Moments. You guys have been in business for a very long time in Beaufort.
Well, we've been here for 4 years. We moved here 4 years ago from Maryland. In Maryland, we had a studio for about 25 years.
So what is it about your studio, Captured Moments, that's different from others? What makes it unique?
I think our studio, we have an actual portrait studio. We've been doing classic portraiture for 30 years, and we have the backgrounds. We have a variety of backgrounds, variety of props. We have sets. We have just things that really make it a unique experience and have a different looks for each time. You could come to us 5 times a year and it would look different every time.
So variety, people sort of get to fulfill those needs. I want to look like a cowgirl,
exactly.
or I want to look like Madame Trousseau, or whatever it is that they may have some sort of idea about.
And even with babies, I mean, you can bring them in all during the year and we can have different looks every time. So
excellent. So obviously Eric is your husband. He's the photographer. Talk a little bit to the community about what his experience is.
Eric's been a photographer for over 30 years. He got his start as an Army photographer in the military. They sent him to Army Photo School. He has a degree in photography, and he has been a member of the Professional Photographers Association for many years. He's actually spoken at a convention in Las Vegas for the Photographers Association. We always update our education, so we're constantly doing things to forward our photography.
Right. And really have your finger on the pulse of your profession.
Exactly.
And keep up with the latest trends, technology, and education that's out there.
And in addition, he actually worked for 10 years in digital printing, so he actually knows color. So when a lot of the photographers had to switch from film to digital, they were clueless, whereas he had a really good understanding of what makes red, greens, and blacks, all that stuff. We could actually color correct our own film and our own pictures.
And he was ahead of the curve.
Yes, exactly.
So one of the things that's interesting to me, you have something called Club Bebe that you offer at your studio. Talk to our viewers about that.
Sure. One thing we do is it's a great little program. We have a book that they get at the end of the year that just documents the baby all the way through from 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. At the end of the year, they get a lovely hardcover book like this. They get a wall portrait, and they have prints along the way to give to their grandmas and aunts and uncles, and we make a video each time of all the pictures, not just the ones that they get prints of. So it's a really comprehensive program that really captures that baby's first year of life.
Right. And now looking back as a mother of a 12 and 14-year-old, something I think, I wish I had done that, you know?
They change so much that first year, and actually we're creating history. So this is something that baby's future husband or wife will love to have when they get married and show their children.
It's just great to go back and look at those things 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later.
Exactly.
So obviously we're starting a new school year, and one of the things that's on the minds of a lot of people who have, seniors is senior portraits.
Right.
So talk to us about that, and why is it so important to be able to capture that time of your child as they're ready to finish their high school year and move on to college?
Well, what we're actually doing is creating a historical document for the future generations. So a lot of kids nowadays, they want to trust their senior pictures to their friends taking pictures with their iPhone. People love a classic portrait. That's something that's going to be remembered. You're at the prime of your time, and some people go on to college, some people don't. So this is just a wonderful time in the kids' lives, and it's a good accomplishment. So we're creating that historical document for their parents, for their grandparents, for their future children to look back and say, this was my parents' senior picture.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, my grandmother was a photographer. She took pictures of everything. So you got confirmed, you were baptized, confirmed through all those sacraments and all those big occasions in your life, and she would then develop them and make a photo album for everybody, which I have and I cherish.
Absolutely.
So for me, I understand why that's so important to have as a historical document, and how we all love to look back at those memories so fondly.
And for me, I grew up pretty poor. We had 8 kids, and I don't even think we owned a camera, so I have no pictures of me as a child. So I married me a photographer, and I've got millions of pictures of my 2 children.
More than you could ever.
Wall portraits all over the place of my children. So
somewhere
yes.
in between, there's a happy medium
Exactly.
for people
You don't
out
have
there.
to go crazy like me, but you can actually have a nice amount of pictures of your children, so they realize that they were important in life, and they have those pictures as they grow up.
So we've talked a little bit about, you know, your history and Eric's, and how you've been able to be so successful for 30 years in this industry where things are constantly changing, and there are so many photographers, whether you're here in northern Beaufort County or on the other side of the Broad River or anywhere you go. So what do you think is the key to having that longevity?
I think for us the key is that we treat this as a business. This is not his passion, this is not an interest, this is our business. This is how we paid for our kids' college. I mean, this has been a full-time business for us for 30 years, and we are okay to change things. If things are working, it's great. If things aren't working, we're not afraid of changing things. So we actually treat this as a business. It's not just a hobby for us, and
right.
We're both involved in it full time. This is both our full time.
I know, and I always do see the 2 of you together.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I know you are in some ways attached at the hip.
Well, we say that he's labor and I'm management, so he actually does the pictures, and I do pretty much everything else.
So he listens to you no matter what it is that you have to say.
Pretty much. I don't tell him what to do in the studio, but he doesn't tell me how to set prices or how to do sales. So we have a good division of labor.
Excellent. So, and I know that I've seen you out in the community. Tell us how you're both involved in the community here in Beaufort.
Well, since we've been here a little over 4 years. Eric's the official photographer of a lot of different places. So he takes pictures for Main Street Beaufort, so all the Shrimp Festival and the Taste of Beaufort, all those events, Eric photographs that, and we do that as a kind of a barter for them. We're involved we did the actual Commodores for the last 3 years from the Water Festival have had Eric as their photographers, that he'll photograph the major events for that. We do a lot of charities. We provide photographic support for Help of Beaufort and the YMCA and Carolina Hospice. So we do a lot of different things. Rather than writing a check, we provide the photographic stuff. They don't have to write a check for a photographer, and then they have great coverage of those types of things.
You certainly do, yeah. Well, thank you for all of that work and how you give back to the community.
You're welcome.
Definitely about one of the things about being on the show is bringing people together and sharing what's available for residents and businesses and organizations who are putting on events, particularly nonprofit, and how their services can be found through the show and just by watching and getting to learn more about your business. So thank you for being a guest. We
you're very
appreciate it.
welcome.
We've got Eric in the background taking some pictures as we're talking. But this will wrap up this edition of North of the Broad. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Thank you.